Hey everyone, welcome to Horrible Gaming. My name is Nora, and on today's video we are working more on some city core entries for your Animal Crossing island. Today we are doing something a little bit more abandoned. I actually had a YouTube request for a abandoned styled entry using maybe a junkyard or a basketball court, and I thought the basketball court would be a really interesting approach to a city island because normally we do something with roads or something with villagers, and I felt like this was a very different approach for a city styled entry. As many of y'all know, I just finished up a Animal Crossing island not too long ago, so of course I'm still in the weird trial phase of figuring out what I want to build next. So these YouTube comments y'all have been leaving me for build ideas have honestly been really helping me kind of see what themes are going to speak to me, and honestly I had a lot of fun with today's island entry. I think a abandoned theme would be really fun to do on the channel. I've actually talked about it for several weeks. The mood board for today's build was actually kind of in the style I was thinking about doing for a abandoned city island, so y'all let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. I do know if we do a theme around this kind of style, I definitely want a different kind of map, just because I have a different approach for an entry I would rather do for my own personal island, and I also don't really like where Plaza was located. I actually was going to do a little highway, kind of like walkway behind the villager homes that you're going to see later on, and I didn't have space to do it, mostly because of the Plaza location. So I suggest if you're going to recreate this, make sure you have a map that is a little bit bigger, or you could just do a different transition behind the villager homes. So while we're on the topic of entry ideas, I'm actually going to be doing several different theme ideas for y'all over the next couple of days in hopes that maybe one of the trials that we do will help inspire my next Animal Crossing theme. Of course, we have my forever islands that we have been talking about on the channel, but I do want to have a new theme build for us. So if there's any other theme ideas that y'all would like to see me create, let me know in the comment section. Just like today's video, I'll test it out and see if I enjoy the island style, all that good stuff. So anyways, on to today's build. We're going to be prepping out the entry for the abandoned basketball court. Now I feel like this would also be a really nice build for maybe a junkyard too, so whatever suits your style the best, but I just thought the abandoned court was such a neat idea for an entry, and then we're going to eventually have it transition to a city core road with two of our villager homes. Now I also like to point out on many of my videos that a lot of our builds can work for different Animal Crossing themes too. I think that this type of entry would work really well for even a Japanese island. You could do a really nice, beautiful, structured basketball court or soccer area, or you could even do like a park or maybe a parking lot. There's so many different approaches you could go about with a space like we're seeing right now, and this could transition to your typical Blossom City. So just keep that in mind if you're looking for layout ideas for your own island, that a lot of the builds that we do on the channel can work with the appropriate code and decor swaps. So as seen, I already filled up and decorated my basketball court area. I went ahead and transitioned forward on this just because I changed my mind a bajillion times on the layout and decor. I'm gonna add a few more details to this area, and then we'll start working on the road transition where the workbench is in front of the court. We do a lot of road placement on my channel, so I went ahead and fast forward the road placement part of this video just because sometimes watching someone place a custom design code down for like a good few minutes is obviously not really fun or inspiring. But if you are someone who needs some help on road placement or just to know what pieces belong where, I definitely recommend checking out my road placement playlist. We have lots of tutorials on there, and hopefully they'll answer some questions if you do need some help on how to identify these pieces and which ones belong in certain locations. So in this location, we're going to be placing two villager homes, but before we get started on that, I'm just going to work on this little transition area, and this is actually inspired by Saturday's Island on Instagram. I absolutely adore their feed. They do a lot of abandoned content, so if you're somebody doing an island theme around this, I would definitely recommend going to check them out and giving them a follow. But I really loved how they did this transition on their island, so this whole entire area is definitely inspired by them. So now that we have the main road layouts pretty much done, I'm going to go ahead and transition the video where we have our villagers place just so you can kind of see how it's starting to look. I was really nervous about doing an entry like this just because honestly doing some sort of a road placement entry is more in my comfort zone, but I think it's starting to transition and flow pretty well. I thought including the villager homes around this build would be not only answer some ideas on how to incorporate your villagers on city islands, but also just getting some of them placed down early. Like I mentioned earlier in today's video, my idea was to do some sort of like a abandoned highway behind the villager homes, but more of like a walk walkway with an overlook of some city core roads, but of course I didn't have space for it due to the plaza location. If you're in kind of the same position as I am today, I was thinking maybe doing a abandoned park behind this would be something really cool and a little bit different from what you normally see on a city island. I just feel like adding a lot of content at your entry kind of introduces the theme, and I just really like having strong entries like that. But you could also do the simple route, like I mentioned earlier, of a road transition behind it, and then maybe do your incline highway behind there. So there's lots of different ways you can transition from this build, but I went ahead and added the terraform and some simple panels to kind of show you what I was thinking originally. And then I also filled in on the left side where I was thinking the highway could start. Hopefully these examples today will kind of give you some ideas on how you can add on to this build and also transition from them. Anyways, before today's video ends, we're going to do a final walkthrough of today's build. I'm really happy with how everything turned out, and I truly hope it brought you some Animal Crossing inspo. I know many of us are experiencing burnout, and I hope that this island build today gives you some motivation to finally build on your island. With that being said, thank you so much for watching and have a horrible day. I'll see you next video.